Hi. So I'm going to talk to you in this video about some strategies that you can try using to rebuild confidence that you once had. I mentioned in my post that sometimes some major life events can cause us to just lose some of that confidence. It just gradually seeps away, and then we suddenly realize that we're no longer comfortable and confident in walking into a room where we're not sure exactly whether we'll know everybody, or driving to a new place, new experiences. We start to hold ourselves back. So the first thing that I want to say is that it isn't necessary for everybody to be brimful of confidence. That isn't the personality of everybody. But it is an issue when you feel that you're holding yourself back from doing things that you'd really like to do because you no longer feel confident. And it's that I want to help you tackle. I don't want to change you as a personality. You are perfectly okay, absolutely as you are, as long as you're getting enjoyment out of life. And if you want more and you feel that confidence is the way to get it, then perhaps these will help. So the first thing to introduce you to is storytelling, because up here in your brain, you're going to be telling yourself all sorts of stories woven around facts that are happening. So it'll be the what if statements that you hear yourself saying in your head. What if I'm late? What if I don't know anybody? What if I'm not dressed the right way? What if, that we can create absolute blockbuster disaster scenarios in our heads by using that phrase, what if. And what I want you to do is to break away from that, so that when you find yourself getting a bit tense and anxious, and especially if you notice that you're using those words in your head, I want you to change that narrative to what is. So what is actually happening? What do you know for fact? Do you know that there are people that are going to be inside that room that you get on with very well, that you like? What do you know? And make sure that you change that story that you're creating to one that is based on fact and not pure fiction. Now, some people say I'm a realist, so that's why I say these things. No, you're not dealing with fact. You're starting to prepare yourself in case things go wrong. And that's a natural thing to do because our brains are wired to keep us safe. But that's also the way to miss out on the fun of life. So change the what ifs to what is. So that's the first thing. The next thing I want to talk to you about is getting a notebook and writing down, decade by decade up to your current decade, all of the things that you've learnt, the skills that you've learnt, and the experiences, the major ones anyway, the experiences you've had decade by decade. So, for instance, for all of us, the first 10 years, 0 to 10, along the way, we'll have learnt to walk and talk, and we'll have learnt to feed ourselves, dress ourselves. We'd have started school, so we learn to share with other children. We learn to take instruction because there's a teacher there telling you what to do. And there'll be many other things as well. But there will be some common things that we'll all put down in that first 10 years. Then in the next 10 years, you'll perhaps have changed schools. You might be having overnight stays with friends. You learn that other people's families aren't quite the same as yours, that people use our English language in different ways. There'll be a lot of swearing in one household and none in another, and that kind of thing. So you're exposed to understanding that there are different ways of expressing yourself, of acting, some acceptable, some less acceptable. You may have had a successful relationship with somebody. You may actually have started a relationship and then felt rejected if the other person no longer wanted to continue in that relationship. You may have experienced more success and more being unsuccessful or failure through exam results, taking a driving test, that sort of thing. Some of the experiences that you've had going to parties or outings with other people, some will be amazing and have stuck in your memory, and some will have been complete disasters and may also have stuck in your memory, of course. But that kind of thing, very different to the first 10 years. And so carry on doing that through the decades. And I know if you're in your 60s, that's 7 decades worth. We've lived a lot, what can we say? So just write down all of the things that you can think of, the skills that you've built, and the experiences that you've had. And then when you finish, put it to one side for a bit and perhaps pick it up again the next day, look through it, and some of it will trigger memories, some good memories, some less good memories. But as you read through it, start to notice how many different things you have learnt to do, you have experienced over your life. Each of us is unique, and we are influenced by all of those things we've learnt, the successes, the failures, the things that are wonderful, the things that are dreadful. All of that has made me the person that I am, and it'll be the same for you. And every single one of those, good or bad, is relevant and useful and has its place in your life. I've had breast cancer twice. I wouldn't be the person that I am today without that experience. So it can't all be bad. I've learnt some resilience through that experience. I've met some wonderful people through that experience. It's perhaps helped me be more understanding and empathetic with people when they're struggling than I was before. So there's all sorts of things. So read through it and just remind yourself how big a person you are, because inside you, in this vehicle, are all of those wonderful things that you've experienced, the things that you've learnt. And you may not be the best at everything. I mean, I can play tennis. I will never be in Wimbledon, and I don't think I'd give many people a good match these days. But I have had that experience. There are other things, sailing. I used to sail. I loved that. And that's still an experience that's very strong in my memory. And when I'm talking to people, I can understand if they're talking around things that I've also experienced, or perhaps something similar. So it makes me a more interesting person because of all of those things I've done. But it makes me more interested in other people because of all the things they've done that I may not have shared. So remind yourself of who you really are. All of those things. Yes, okay, maybe you're less comfortable right now, but look at all the things that you've done in your life so far. And then the third thing is around comfort zone. Now, we all talk about comfort zone, and we know it's not nice to be pushed outside of your comfort zone, but you can find your comfort zone has shrunk. And that might be the case for those of you that feel they've lost confidence. So now we need to stretch it a bit more. Let's grow that comfort zone. So if you think of yourself right in the middle of that circle of comfort, and we want now to be able to move out, because outside of that comfort zone is the rest of life. And for many of us, that's where the fun and the excitement is, rather than it's safe, maybe in our own four walls. So my challenge to you is to think about, what am I going to do? Something different every week, but what am I going to do this week to push myself out of my comfort zone? Now, it might be as simple as walking down to the shops and making eye contact with somebody on the way and saying good morning, good afternoon, or whatever. It might be contacting somebody you haven't seen for a long while and arranging to meet up for lunch or a coffee. Now, sometimes you're so uncomfortable that you might not want to put 2 feet outside your comfort zone. So think about, what can you do to make it feel a little bit more comfortable for you? So that might be invite somebody to your home where you're more comfortable. It might be you choose where you go for lunch, somewhere that you've been to before so you know what to expect. You might also want to think about how you dress, because that can really boost our confidence. Knowing that you look good because you feel good on the inside, and that then emanates through all of you because you're more likely to smile, you're more likely to look inviting and interested and excited about what you're talking about. So think about, that doesn't have to be, a special outfit for this one occasion, but pick out your favourite outfit and put makeup on, do your hair, do whatever it is that makes you feel good, so that when you go out to do whatever this thing that's taking you out of your comfort zone, you feel your best and there's a little bit of comfort that you can take with you. So challenge, something every week that takes you out of your comfort zone. You might want to go and do things on your own, go for a meal on your own, go to the cinema. Lots of people say, oh, I could never do that. Yes, you could. You just literally go do it. You may not feel comfortable doing that. That's the difference. To stop telling yourself you can't and start looking for those things you can and make it happen. But if I'm really honest with you, rebuilding this confidence will only happen if you take action. If you sit at home, you watch this video, you read books, nothing will change. You have to put stuff into action. So good luck with that. I hope this has helped, but please let me know how you get on. Take care.